Hello everyone, it's Michael from Chess Lifestyle, and today we are unfortunately not going to be training 45 minutes because we are going to be playing Robert Ramirez in how many minutes? 42 minutes? So that's going to be pretty hype. Welcome to Space Lee, yes, another early stream, and you won a game, Safsara, congratulations, fantastic. What kind of opponent was your scalp? This was the AM, right? So, okay, but still, yeah, a nice win, and now the under 16 to think about in the afternoon. Okay, well, best of luck. And yeah, basically, the reason why I'm streaming a bit less and why I started a bit late is because I've been doing some nice preparation for Mr. Ramirez. I've been kind of having a look at his games online, also going over my own C3 Venom course. Like, I've basically been having a look at some of my variations and just making sure that I'm completely covered on what will potentially come up if I've predicted his lines right. And yeah, we're going to be playing a best of 3 match, so you can feel free to tune in to that on Lichess. So yeah, that's going to be quite exciting. But what I'm going to do for the next half an hour is basically just get warmed up. So I haven't really played any chess or done any chess tactics, so this is like my opportunity to get in shape for the match. What are your predictions, guys, on the final score? It's a best of 3, 5+5 rapid, so you know it's not going to be that long of a match. So while you make some predictions, I'm going to try and think of this exercise. So we're still in Capablanca. Material is equal. And what forcing moves do we have? So we've got knight e7, we've got knight h6, we've got bishop takes f7. What captures do we have? We've got pawn takes e5, we've got knight takes e5. Any threats? Nothing quite jumping out at me. So okay, let's look at each of these lines. So let's start with the checks. So bishop takes f7 looks intriguing to me, because if queen takes, then just knight takes h6 and we get a fork of the queen, and that's very good. So bishop takes f7, king takes f7 would therefore be forced, otherwise white has won a pawn. Although okay, bishop takes f7, king g7. No, there's no king g7 because of the knight. Maybe there's king h7, so maybe there's some alternatives. But bishop f7, if king f7, do we have a follow-up? We could play queen b3 check there. That looks very strong. Although they can block knight d5, potentially. I don't know, feels like it's got some promise, but it's also not like evidently winning to me. So maybe let's check something else. Maybe knight e7 check. Queen takes e7. We've just sacked a knight for nothing, so not that. Okay, knight takes h6. Well, then just queen takes h6, and doesn't look like I've got something there. I guess knight h6, queen h6, bishop f7. King f7. Again, don't really see a clear follow-up. I'm also going to open a window because it's pretty hot. Who am I playing? I'm playing Robert Ramirez. Have you heard of the guy? He's like the guy who like made Park mainstream. Hello Gloin, welcome to the stream. You're playing a 1900 in the afternoon. Who are you playing, Safsara? Grinded a rook and bishop, 3 versus 2 pawns. Wait. 2 pawns versus 2 rooks and a bishop, and I had 2 rooks. What? I don't understand the imbalance, Safsara, but glad to hear you won. But okay, so actually out of all of these checks that we've looked at so far, this bishop takes f7 definitely looks like the most promising. What were the captures we had? We had pawn takes e5. Does this do anything? I mean, if they take our knight, we can take their knight, so maybe there's something there. If they take our pawn, Our queen is a little bit in trouble. Maybe that's not so comfortable, right? We can't really just take, they can just take us back, and I don't think we've got some big follow-up. Knight e5. Again, maybe knight takes e5, and we can't really take without losing the queen, right? So then it's really feeling like bishop takes f7 has to be the move. But how? So maybe let's try and eliminate this king h7. Bishop f7, king h7. Do we have like a good move here? Maybe we could still go takes on g6. King would have to take, otherwise they're just 2 pawns down. Then we go knight h4 check. But then they can go back to h7. Maybe that feels alright for them. Bishop takes king here. Because the point is we can't just move the bishop back without losing the knight, right? And the material in the starting position is equal, so we can't really allow that. I have to say, out of all of the days so far, this has been like the slowest I've been, I think. Like I'm not feeling as explosive as the last few days. Maybe it's a mix of the heat and also eating a big lunch, which probably wasn't the smartest decision, but hey ho. Hopefully I'll fully digest by the time the match starts. Bishop f7, king h7. I can't even refute this, let alone bishop takes f7, king takes f7. So is the point where this is just like a red herring and I just need to like move a knight? like what's going on? That'd be quite funny if it was just like, well, knight g3, don't lose a piece. Somehow I feel like it should be something more. Bishop f7, king h7. My timer is slowly running out, which you can't see. I'm not going to check chat just in case someone has the answer. h7. Takes on g6. King takes g6. Surely there's something here. What checks do I have? I've only got those 2 checks with the knights. Knight 4, king back to h7. Why should there be something there? It's not like my pieces can flood in really, really easily. I don't know, I'd simply move the knight away, I think. Maybe there's some argument to say knight h4 with this kind of threat. I really don't see it. Or could be bring the other knight in, so that if they take, I can take like this. But it's also, it doesn't feel like it's enough. Yep, my time is very close to running out. Any last ditch ideas? Yeah, in a game I'm playing this. Like, I do not see how bishop takes f7 works. Okay, so we find out that this bishop f7 is the way to go. I mean, this was the most promising tactic. I just couldn't calculate the win after king takes or king h7. I thought both of these looked fairly promising for black. If he takes with the queen, it's a fork. Yes, I saw this one glowing. Yeah, I saw if queen takes knight h6 is a fork, but I didn't see what to do after king takes or king h7. I couldn't see the win. Welcome Yassine, how's it going? You played any tournaments yet? No, actually I'm heading to Prague on Thursday. My round starts on Friday, and then I'm basically playing 18 rounds of chess in a row. And yeah, I've been like preparing a lot, like my openings, also just trying to work on my tactics, my calculation. I've been doing a bit of Argard, I've been doing this woodpecker method, and actually, very recently I feel like I've made a jump in my tactical ability. Okay, clearly not for this exercise, but in general I feel like I'm sharper. So yeah, really really good warm up for the tournaments. Bishop f7, king h7, bishop g6. Yeah, that's what I said as well, but I didn't really see the follow-up. Then knight h4 after king h7, after you sack the bishop. So you're saying bishop f7, king h7, bishop g6, king g6, knight h4. This is what I said as well. I was saying knight f3 to h4, but then I was saying king back to h7. And I didn't see a follow-up there, and I didn't see why there should be a follow-up, because I've only got these two knights. My queen and rooks are like really, really far from the action. Right, this is the line I was looking at. It's bishop g6. Sorry, king h7, bishop g6. King takes knight h4, and the king just goes back to h7. So I don't think it can be that. You're positionally winning? That's a crazy statement. If king h7, bishop g6, king takes, you have 2 pawns for the bishop. The king, I agree, is somewhat exposed. But if the king can tuck away to h7, I don't know if I could argue that the position is positionally winning. Maybe you can actually. Wait a sec. I'm seeing if king h7, bishop takes g6, king takes g6. Maybe we can follow up with a different check. Not a check, sorry, but just take on e5. Pawn takes e5. Because the point being is now that the knight can't take on e5 so easily, because you've got knight takes e5 with check on the king on g7, right? And maybe this is connected to that looks really promising, right? Like king h7, bishop g6, king takes g6, and pawn takes e5. Right, because then you get 3 pawns for the piece. If the knight has to move away, I'm definitely fancying my chances with this knight cemented on f5. And you gain that extra time. Starting to feel a lot more promising. So okay, if king takes f7, then what is our follow-up? Maybe again we can take on e5. They can't take back because I take on e5 with check, so I can take on e5. If they take my knight on f5, maybe I take their knight on f6. But then I don't really see it, right? Like I think they can just play knight takes f6, but then I can go knight e5 check. But then they can go king g7. I don't think I've achieved enough there. Let's have a look. Oh, so they even go king h7 here. They don't take on f7. So maybe I missed something more obvious on taking on f7. But this was the line I went for. This taking on e5. And saying that we have enough compensation here. Yeah. e6, e7, or even e6 and then knight e5 wins material wherever black moves the knight. Fair enough. So how does it win? So in this position, if we get an extra move here, right? We play e6, let's say knight b6, and knight e5 check. If the king goes to h7, how are we actually winning? Wins material wherever black moves. Not an easy one at all. Maybe we can push e7 in the sense that if they take on d1, we can take and promote. Yeah, that's obviously very good for us because we lose a queen, but we gain a queen and gain a new queen. That's a really interesting tactic where we finish with a queen up. So I guess that makes sense. But the question I had was this king f7. Wow, and queen b3. So I did look at queen b3, but I didn't believe in it for some reason. I thought knight d5. And I thought takes, dc6. Aha. And then, okay, you end up being 2 pawns up. Right, I guess I actually saw this queen b3 and I, for some reason, was just very lazy with my calculation, or I just decided to dismiss the line and look at something else. But I should have remembered that queen b3 was one of my ideas. I just completely forgot that this was one of my themes. Very interesting. So okay, we got the right answer, but not not completely cleanly, I would say. Um, just getting through every workday right now with the carrot of a big Cheshire Bridge hole at the end. Nice, Josh. That sounds like a really great reward after some hard work. Playing tomorrow too in a closed event. Amazing, Yassine. Is this in Morocco or is this somewhere else? Like, where did you get the invite? Yeah, D takes E5 maybe. Exactly. You got it, Venomous. UK someone called Mahmood? Aha, I don't know who Mahmood is. Oh, you're wrong? Okay, Safsara. Probably some queen move, huh? Yeah, apparently in this position this one is this e-pawn push. But yeah, this was very difficult. Let's move on to the next one. I mean, the purpose of this training right now is to get in shape for my match against Robert Ramirez. So we gotta get sharp. We got 20 minutes to get sharp. So let's go. Free. Okay, materials equal. What's the kind of themes in the position? Okay, maybe we've got some pressure on this D file. Maybe the E pawn is loose. The bishop on B5 is hanging. The queen on A2 seems a bit awkward. Maybe some bishop D5. What about for white? White's got some pressure on F7 perhaps. Maybe they've got some chances to take on E4 potentially. So okay, that's basically understanding what's kind of going on. And then what about candidate moves? So let's start with our captures. We've got queen takes E5. We've got rook takes D2. No checks in the position. Any threats? Maybe we've got queen b6, queen a5. Queen a5 could be a double attack, like a fork, right? Hitting the bishop and the knight. We've also got bishop d5. So one of these moves should be working, I reckon, right? So let's just start with the captures, even though I don't think it's going to be one of them. But rook takes d2, rook takes d2. What have we achieved? I think we've lost our control of the d file and given up a rook for no reason. So we can take on e5, but I don't think it's worth it. Okay, so what about queen takes e5? We just win a pawn. If we just go queen takes e5, this seems pleasant. I mean, does white actually have a threat here? Maybe they've got some fancy like knight f3 or maybe knight c4, but I'm not too bothered. I can just move the queen. Unless maybe queen takes e5, knight c4 is a problem. If I move my queen, let's say to g5, threatening some e3 and checkmate kind of stuff. So let's say queen takes e5, knight c4, queen g5. Maybe white can go knight d6. And knight d6 feels very, very annoying because not only does it hit the rook, bishop, it also hits the pawn on f7. So this feels quite uncomfortable. Maybe I don't want to allow this. So before I look into any deeper, let's check our other moves. So what about queen a5? This one felt very promising, right? Hitting the knight and the bishop. If the bishop moves away anywhere, maybe c4 is their most promising square. I'm just going to go rook takes d2. They can take on f7, king h8. There's nothing, right, for them. So we win a piece. So queen a5, what if they move the knight? They could take on e4, but they can't really, right? Because I can always take on d1, rook takes, and then bishop takes e4. So queen a5, where can they move the knight? Maybe they can go knight c4 again, queen takes bishop, and knight d6. But here, at the very least, I can take on d6 with the rook, pawn takes d6, and I win 2 pieces for a rook. He gets this nice passed pawn on d6, but it's not like super clear. Like it's not like, I don't think like white is doing really great or something. So definitely queen a5 feels like the most promising for now. Is bishop d5 going to be useful for any reason? Bishop d5, maybe they can just play bishop c4 at the very least. Don't really see what I've achieved. Queen b6, this just hits the bishop, not the knight, right? So I feel like queen a5 is the most promising. So queen a5, knight c4 takes on b5, knight d6, rook takes d6, pawn takes d6, and how do we feel? I feel like we should feel good about that. I feel like we're better there. I feel like we're better there. Let's try it. Queen a5. Okay, just one move. George Thomas in this Capablanca simul. I actually maybe it's not a simul. Hastings, right? So actually Capablanca was busted, but George Thomas sacked the rook, and then played Queen a5. Ah, I missed this idea. I didn't even see this combination of these two ideas, right? This Queen a5 and Rook d2. That's kind of annoying. But okay, maybe I got a bit lucky there that actually this isn't as good. He was winning and won, but there was little reason to give away the exchange. Well, I mean, there's reason to give away the exchange if you're going to have to give up the exchange anyway, right? So it says perhaps he feared the knight coming to d6, but apart from giving up the exchange when that happens, he could also win with... Oh, so there's another move I missed. Knight c4, rook d1 here. I did actually consider this. And I actually thought that the knight couldn't take because I was taking with checkmate, but of course he can block, but actually bishop a6 is winning, so yeah, that's another oversight from me. But I just thought he goes rook takes d1, and I didn't see how this makes any difference. I thought he just goes knight d7, knight d6, and I still got the same problem with the queen and rook. But I can play queen d7 and exploit the back rank. That's really, really interesting. And maybe what I should have done at the start of the puzzle was actually identify that, hey, there are some back rank weaknesses. Maybe I can try and exploit this, right? Queen d7 is all well and safe. So actually, let's just start from the beginning and just check with an engine. See like how bad my resulting idea was. So queen a5, knight c4. Queen b5 is as good as the engine's move. Okay, that's not so bad. Okay, so we also found like a move that leads to a much better position. The reason why this feels much better to me is because we still retain a pair of rooks actually, and in the sense that when your opponent has this imbalance, right, two rooks against rook, bishop, and knight, you prefer to keep the rooks so that you have like one of each kind of piece, as opposed to trading a pair of rooks, where you're just left with bishop and knight against rook, because the closer we get to the endgame, the more powerful the rook will be, and we don't have a piece that can challenge it. So that's why I felt very, very happy with this position. Like I felt, okay, maybe he's got this passed pawn, but ultimately, yeah, we've got the material advantage, which should count. So, okay, glad we could still find a good line, even if we missed some details along the way. Okay, so what are people saying? Ooh, lots of comments. In Barcelona, same kind of event Faustina Oro played. Awesome. I mean, Yasin, if you can send me a link to the event, I would love to follow it, and also maybe I can consider it one day in the future. Like, I'm probably very, very far from that. But yeah, I would be interested to hear about these closed events. Which course is this? Can you send me the link? When you say course, Venomous, what are you talking about? You're not talking about my C3 Venom, right? You're talking about the Chessable, right? Chessable, this is Woodpecker Method. If you look up Woodpecker Method on Chessable, it's a great book. And the idea is that you do these cycles. So you do like a whole set of puzzles, and then you repeat the cycle after 4 weeks, then 2 weeks, then 1 week, then 4 days, 2 days, 1 day. And in theory, you should do your whole set of puzzles in a single day. And the idea is to kind of drill in certain tactical motifs. It's a really nice idea. Is the match versus Robert Ramirez live? So actually, guys, I can do both. I can do both. I mean, in my thinking, I was gonna do it offline, with the logic being that if anything goes wrong, I basically have the time to make edits, make like a really clean video. I could potentially do it live and then edit that video later and then upload that. So I could make it live. I mean, the other thing as well is like I feel like we're gonna try and analyze the game afterwards, analyze the games afterwards, and we're gonna like call on WhatsApp. So I've also like considered the fact that, you know, if I'm doing it live, then how am I gonna be able to go on WhatsApp without revealing like, I don't know, certain numbers or like, you know, this kind of stuff. So I feel like, you know, if I'm gonna be doing this match and like trying to like make it look nice and stuff, like it's gonna be easier just to do it offline. Like streaming is just one more thing on my mind that I don't really want. Like I need to play my best chess as well. So I think I'm just gonna do it offline. But yeah, I mean, if people really, really want to see it live, then maybe we can do that as well. I mean, my plan is to commentate the games as I go. Like, I want it to be some good content as well. I'm not gonna just like completely lock in and play. But yeah, that's the situation. So Capablanca once again getting wrecked. Exactly. Queen a5, queen a5, rook d2, queen a5, reverse the order. Let's figure out why the order matters. So lots of people changing their answer to rook d2, then fast changing their answer back to queen a5. Then changing it back to rook d2. Yeah, lots of stuff. Can you send me the link? Not easily, not easily, Venomous. That's too technologically impressive for me. So just look up woodpecker method on chessboard. It takes 2 seconds. That's my bad though. I omitted that detail on purpose because I saw it but failed to mention the trick. Huh. Here's the link, pretty strong. Yassine, you're not able to send links on chat. I think YouTube has a policy where you can't send links. So if you could send it to me on Lichess or on Messenger or something like this, that would be ideal. Welcome, Fritz, to the stream. We're just doing some tactics. In 15 minutes, I play Robert Ramirez. So I want to get some extra practice in, just get a little bit sharp, and then we'll play. Speaking of Barcelona, we now have Capablanca against someone with the surname Barcelona, 1935. Again, a symbol. This time it looks like Capablanca is winning. Okay, let's give this a go. So in the starting position, we are actually down a piece, down a full piece as white. What's going on? Okay, black's got some pressure on g2, right? The f-file has some tension for both sides. We have this queen and bishop battery on h7. Maybe the knight can jump in. The rook on c1 is somehow active. Maybe black's got these development issues with a bishop on c8 and rook on a8. The pawn on e6 looks vulnerable, right, to the queen. So okay, we kind of get some picture of what's going on. And now we need some candidates. So queen h7, of course. Queen takes e6, just in case. Those are our checks. Then we've got what captures. Rook takes f4, queen takes f4, queen takes b7, absolutely not. And then what about threats? So what moves are remotely threatening? Maybe rook f3 with some idea to rook lift, feels very slow. I feel like we've got enough to start on, to be honest. I don't see any kind of moves that really improve the situation. Maybe h4 or something that hits the queen. Probably not though, right? So let's start. So okay, let's start with queen e6, just because it looks ridiculous. And I just want to calculate what happens if we sack the queen. So queen e6, knight e6. Do we have a follow-up here? Got rook takes f8, king f8, and nothing. Queen e6, knight e6, bishop h7, king h7, we've got nothing. We don't even win the rook, there's a knight on d7. So queen e6 just feels like it doesn't work at all. So queen takes h7 instead. That forces king f7. That's promising. And then we've got a few different ideas, I think. We can now bring in the knight, like knight d6. We can also potentially give a check on g6, bishop g6. We can also potentially take this rook with check, rook f4. So this looks very promising, right? So queen h7, king f7. And now what? Let's start with rook takes f4, because I feel like it's quite forcing, because in that position, if black just moves the king, at the very least, we've won a pawn, right? So queen h7, king f7, rook takes f4. Let's imagine queen takes f4. At the very least there, we can even play rook f1. And then we skewer the queen to the king, and this looks really promising to be up material, right? So queen h7, king f7, rook f4. To me, that's already enough reason to be able to play it. Let's just check the alternatives to see if we've got anything that's winning even more. Queen h7, king f7, bishop g6. They could go queen takes g6, but then we've got rook takes f4 check. But then they can maybe block with the queen, and I feel like we've had to sacrifice a bishop there as well. Right? Do I make sense with that? And I think sacrificing bishop is worse than like sacrificing exchange. Even though we're gonna win material back in both cases, I feel like losing a bishop is worse than losing an exchange. Have I understood that correctly? Queen a7, king f7. The problem with bishop g6 as well is that you don't actually win anything, right? He could potentially run with king e7, and you're still a piece down, and actually the knight and queen are still eyeing up your king on g2. So I think queen h7, king f7, remove that knight, rook takes f4, queen f4, and just rook f1. Surely they've got nothing there. It's a pin. Looks really, really strong. So I think I'm happy. I think I can already go for this. Rook f4 and rook f1. Okay, they take... I saw this and I was looking to see if, they've got any move they can move and attack our queen, but obviously the king can't move into check, right? So that means the only discovery they have is like going this way, and who cares, right? Okay. So they want to take with the bishop instead. Black has no chance of surviving with his poor development and weak king. So I guess somehow actually I ended up losing 2 rooks for a knight and a queen, and I was a piece down in the starting position. So I basically equalize the material. I also want a pawn, right? So now I have a queen and pawn for 2 rooks. But ultimately, Black's king is super weak. Maybe I should have been clearer on this. But yeah, Black's development is still lacking. We've removed all threats to our king. Their king is still weak. So I think this makes sense. Okay, Frizz got it. Nice. Yeah, maybe offline is best bet and you can make a nice video out of it. Yeah, that was my thinking, Dan. Yeah, Robert Ramirez match. Starting in 10 minutes. Crazy, right? Yeah. So, okay, everyone seems like they've got this one quite nicely. Amazing. Okay, guys. You know what? I know there's 5 minutes more of the training, and I even, trained a bit less than 45 today. But, yeah, I think I've got to get ready for this Ramirez match. Just make sure I've got enough water, make sure that there's no problems, and just get in the zone for the match. So, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be able to upload this this evening, make a nice video out of it. And, yeah, test 1c3 Venom against Mr. Robert Ramirez. Gonna be a great match. Gonna be 5+5. I'm gonna try and commentate my moves, and yeah, I guess enjoy that match. So on that note, thanks for training with me, and okay, see you guys round tomorrow. Adios.